but now we are. Welcome back, friends of roller derby, to WFTDA.tv coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament here in scenic Loveland, Colorado. My name is Brad Example, and I'm here with Hot Sauce.
Hi.
And we're here to bring you Game 8 on track number 2. That's the female division bracket. And who do we have skating for us in this game?
We have the Inland Pixies versus the Gapland Roller Girls.
So the Gapland Roller Derby League Smashers Elite will be skating in black. The Pixies of the Inland Northwest Roller Derby League will be skating in blue, kind of a light blue. And the winner of this game goes on to play at 6 p.m. Mountain Time tonight in game number 11 on this track. And the other team will advance to the first game of tomorrow, Sunday, to play for 9th place against the Rocky Mountain Roller Punks. So skating in the blue for the Pixies, we got number 000 Wolschlager, number 111 Damage Patch Kid, number 113 Daisy Juke, number 123 Tap Out, number 13 Ginger Slap, number 27 Tomahawk, number 333 Spawn of Skatin', number 357 Blackheart Blocker, number 50 Strawberry Short Skate, number 5150 Lucky Harms, number 64 Kick N Ash, number 666 Slim Reaper, number 7 Stinger, and number 99 Irene Yonek.
And for Gapland Roller Derby League Smashers Elite, we have number 11, Rolling Stowe, number 12, No Heart, number 13, K, number 119, Ginger Snap, number 22, Skidlet, number 30, Rip and Roll Her, number 360, MC1R, number 40, Depress Her, number 404, Stow and Go, number 5151, Houdini, number 82, Smashinator, number 9, Reign of Terror, number 901, Crashity Jade, number 911, Killerella.
And with a skater named Ginger Snap going against one named Ginger Slap, we're going to have to be on our best behavior keeping track of that.
I have to do quite a bit of tongue twisters in this game.
Thank you again to WFTDA.tv for enabling this online coverage of the game today. We see that the officials meeting seems to be proceeding, even though the time to derby clock has expired. So thank you for your patience as we get that sorted out. The captains and officials are all shaking hands there. And we'll be getting ready for a little bit of roller derby here. Just in case you are tuning in and are new to roller derby, here is the sport in a nutshell. We're going to have two 30-minute periods of play broken down into scoring sessions called jams. At the start of each jam, 5 skaters from each team will be on the track. One will be wearing a star. She is the jammer. She scores the points. At the start of the jam, she has to make her way through the pack of blockers to earn the right to score, and then picks up a point for each opponent that she laps on subsequent passes. First jammer through is almost always declared lead jammer. If she is not, we'll let you know that, and we'll let you know why. If she can call it off and stop the jam. If she does not, the jam lasts a maximum of 2 minutes. Who do we have lined up to jam for us?
We have number 9, Reign of Terror, and number 50 for the Pixies being Strawberry Short Skate. And it seems like there's already been a penalty called on the Pixie Jammer, that being 50 Strawberry Short Skate, meaning that Gapland gets to play a little bit of offense for their team.
Yep, power play favoring Gapland. They have not yet managed to get Reina Turner through the pack yet. There she is, and oh no, it's indicated that she's not lead jammer due to a situation that we call no pass, no penalty. And I told you we'd tell you when there was no lead jammer. This is one of those cases. And since the other jammer has been penalized, she can't be lead jammer. So this will be a full 2-minute jam.
Seems like a pivot from the Gapland team. Number 901, Crashity Jane, has gone into the penalty box. I do not know why. But on the floor, there seems to be quite a lot of falling happening.
Strawberry Short Skate has made it back out onto the track and is through the pack, but not yet scoring points. So you'll note on your screen that some of the officials in the center of the track indicate the number of points that the jammers have scored. They do that only after the scoring pass is complete.
Now, Reign of Terror having a little bit of trouble getting through that wall, especially with that Pixie Pivot getting on top of her. Meanwhile, Pixie Jammer gets taken back by Gapland Smashers Elite team.
So Hot Sauce mentioned the pivot. The pivot is a blocker with the stripe on her helmet. That stripe means that she can accept the pass of the star and become the new jammer for that team.
Pixie Jammer gets through the pack, but not without Reign of Terror coming right behind her. Seems like Pixie Jammer has 5 points on that pass. Gapland Jammer only had 4.
I mentioned a star pass that seemed to happen to number 901 Crashity Jade for Gapland. Accepted the star pass, earned 4 points. So after the first jam of the game, we have 5 points on the board for the Pixies, 4 for Gapland.
Seems like number 119 on Gapland, Ginger Snap, is versing the Pixie Jammer. Looks like number, I cannot see the number 27.
You might be able to see better
Tomahawk.
on the track than on the screen. The screen there is a little bit dark.
Tomahawk gets lead jammer status. She is coming into the pack again. Seems like there is an attempt to, a panty pass has occurred. Pixie Jammer getting another 5 points.
Houdini is actually going to the penalty box from the pack for Gapland.
Tomahawk gets another pass right on the outside. Getting another 5 points. And it looks like there has been some trouble with the Gapland blockers as one of them is on the floor. Another pass on the inside by Tomahawk, getting another 5 points.
That's 15 on the jam so far. No more.
Looks like Gapland Pivot is still in the box, but she is standing. That is number 5151. Houdini. And there has been a deaded jam.
We do have a skater down on the track, so please bear with us as that skater is seen to by the appropriate individuals. The clock has been stopped with 26 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the first period of play out of 2. As we were indicating earlier, the winner of this game will proceed to game number 11 on track number 2. That takes place at 6 p.m. Mountain Time tonight. They will be playing against the Chick Whips, and the other team will proceed to game 13 of the tournament tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. They will be competing against the Rocky Mountain Roller Punks for 9th place in the tournament. Thank you again for tuning in to WFTDA.tv coverage. The skater who is down happens to be number 119 for Garland. That is Ginger Snap. She's now sitting up, which is always a good sign. And in fact is rising back to her skates under her own power. So you can hear the cheers of the crowd as they appreciate seeing that the injury was not serious and is concluded. So after
that, the 2 jammers that are for this jam, number 99 Aaron Yonek, and it looks like number 11
correct.
Rolling Stowe. Seems like Gapland blockers are starting 1 short in this jam.
Yeah, but that's with number 5151 Houdini remaining in the penalty box from the previous jam. away we go.
5 seconds. And the Pixie Jammer busts right through the pack. That being number 99, Iron Yonek, getting the lead jammer status. Gapland Jammer still fighting through that Pixie pack and gets around number 11, Rolling Stowe. Tries to catch that Pixie Jammer. Pixie Jammer is fighting against that Gapland wall. And it looks like Pixie Jammer gets away once again and calls off the jam immediately.
4 points going on the board for the Pixies, taking them to a total of 24. 4 remaining on the board for the Smashland Elite. We see a return of number 9, Reign of Terror, to the jammer line for Gapland. Taking on, is that number 7, Stingher?
I believe so. Stingher was having some trouble with, it looks like, her toe stop, so a timeout has been called on the Pixies side. And a switch of jammers. This being number 27, Tomahawk, making a return on the track.
Now the timeout having been called, that is a team timeout. Those last 60 seconds. So even though the skaters are ready to go, they still have about 35 seconds left before they can resume skating. Each team has 3 of those team timeouts. They can only be called between jams. This one has stopped the clock at 25 minutes and 1 second remaining in our first period of play. So that's us. You have got 20 seconds. Tell us about the team you skate with.
I play for Drawings of Destruction Roller Derby. We are located in Michigan, around the Roseville area. We are the number, I think, 7th team in the world, and we are having a lot of fun being here at Championships.
When do you play next?
We play at 4 p.m. against Crooked River, and we have just played against Rocky Mountain. That was the game before this one at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Pixie Jammer starts trying to get through that pack. That is number 27. Quick reformation from the Pixies against the Gapland Jammer. Reign of Terror. Reign of Terror fighting through that pack. And Gapland recycles Pixie's Jammer. That would be number 27, Tomahawk. Tomahawk fighting against those strong walls. And she is taken back again with a big hit to the outside. Gapland Jammer gets lead, that being Reign of Terror. And Tomahawk gets laid out again on the outside line. Looks to be by the pivot. And Gapland's Jammer makes another pass, getting what looks like another 4 points as she races through. 5 points.
And that 5th point comes from lapping the opposing team's jammer. Called strangely up. Another 5 up there for Reign of Terror.
And the Gapland blockers are just recycling that Pixie Jammer, and it looks like a panty pass has occurred on the Pixie side. That pivot being 000 Wolfschlager. But Gapland Jammer calls it off before Pixie's Jammer can get any points.
So a total of 15 points on that jam takes Gapland to a total of 19 on the scoreboard. Still a 5-point lead for the Pixies as we go into our 5th jam of the game.
Number 7 playing for the Pixies, Stingher, fighting through the pack. And Gapland's own number 360 MC1R making an appearance in this jam today.
Lead goes to Stinger, first one through the pack.
Gapland's Jammer still fighting to get through. Pixie Jammer busts through the middle of the pack and gets a full 5 points. Looks like Gapland's Gapland's jammer is being recycled by the Pixies as the Pixie jammer comes up and gets another 5 points.
A track cutting penalty has just been committed by MC1R. She has to go sit in the penalty box for 30 seconds.
There is a power jam on the Pixie side. And still, number 30 on Gapland is trying hard to keep that jammer behind them, but it does not work as the Pixies jammer pushes through and gets a forearm and is going to the box. Both jammers are in the box, but Gapland's own 360 gets out. And now is a power jam for Gapland's side. Gapland's jammer gets through the first 2 blockers. And it looks like she pushes through and gets hit out again by the Pixies pivot. Quick reformation going on by the Pixies. And a huge hit on the Pixie side to the Gapland jammer, and it looks like she is down.
She is in some distress. They have called off the jam with a few seconds remaining in it. The clock is stopped at 20 minutes and 49 seconds. The points awarded in that previous jam remain. So we're now at 39-19 on the scoreboard. It's a little distressing and unusual to have 2 jam stoppages for injury so early in the game. We still have over 20 minutes remaining in our first period of play. So let's hope that this proves to be anomalous and we don't see it continuing on. Thank you again for tuning in to WFTDA.TV coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament here in Loveland, Colorado. Today is July 15th, 2017. My name is Brad Example.
And I am Hot Sauce.
Junior Roller Derby Association, as the name implies, is for the younger skaters in this sport. Many of the skaters that are here this weekend, in fact, are aging off of their teams. Not so many in this game. 2 of the Gapland skaters will be aging out and potentially going on to adult teams. We can tell you about another Junior Roller Derby International Tournament. It will be in Copenhagen, over in Denmark, this August 11th and 12th. There will be skaters there from 9 countries, aged 10 to 18 years, from the US, Belgium, France, Sweden, England, Scotland, Germany, Holland, and Denmark. So for information on that, go to www.catrollerderby.com. And I'm pleased to report that the skater MC1R has returned to her own skates and is moving off to the side. So in a few moments we'll be able to resume play. The period clock has been adjusted to show 20 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in our first period. Then we'll have a 15-minute halftime and do it all over again. If you are having a watch party, please post a picture to Twitter or Facebook and tag it with hashtag JRDA Watch Party, and there will be prizes for that. You can follow at JRDA_rocks, and you can tweet at us at hashtag talk2JRDA.
And it looks like number 82 on the black team, Gapland, Smashinator versus Iron Yonik
Number 99.
Number 99. And Iron Yona gets through on the inside and gets a full 4 points. But the Gapland Smashers Elite Jammer, Smashinator, who is lead, coming up right behind her. Pixie's Jammer gets through, getting another 4 points. And although Smashinator is lead, it does not look like she wants to call it.
They're matching 4-point passes so far.
And some good defense going on by the Gapland Smashers. But the Pixies recycle Smashinator, and she has to go back through. And she gets a cutting penalty, and it's a power jam on the Pixie side. Smashinator will be in the box. And there has been no lead jammer, so this will go on for a full 2 minutes.
Of which only about 40 seconds remain. Now this time, as Irene Yonek completes the scoring pass, she does get the 5th point as credit for her opposing jammer sitting in the penalty box.
Looks like Pixies are going to go play offense to help their jammer. And the other jammer, Smashinator, has come in to enter the track. And it goes in hot to get through and goes by on that inside line. Pixies jammer still getting those points. And the jam is off as that is a full 2 minutes. In the Northwest, the Pixies have 57 versus Gapland, who have 31. There is currently 18 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half.
Coming out to jam for the Pixies, we've got number 50, Strawberry Short Skate. Our opponent will be number 901, Crashity Jade.
Gapland blockers trying to contain the Pixies jammer, but she sneaks her on the inside. That is Strawberry Short Skate, and she gets the status of lead jammer. Meanwhile, Gapland's jammer, number 901, Crashity Jade, is still having some trouble getting through that pack. But she does get through. And the Pixies jammer gets through cleanly, getting a full 4 points. And she calls it off.
The Pixies coming into the tournament as the number 4 seed, whereas the Smashers Elite are the number 10 seed. So on paper, the Pixies would seem to be favored to win this game. They do have a 30-point lead right now, 61-31. They have managed to grab lead in 57% of the jams so far, as opposed to 29% for the Smashers Elite. If you're quick with numbers, you'll notice those didn't add up to 100. We've had a couple jams with no lead jammer.
And Houdini is going up against Tomahawk. Tomahawk being on the Pixie side, Houdini being on the Gapland side. And the Pixies jammer gets through and gets lead jammer status. Gapland Smashers trying to do a little bit of offense. And the Gapland jammer gets through.
Still there's time for Tomahawk to grab some points and call it off, which is exactly what she does. 4 points going on the Pixie side of the scoreboard. It takes to the score to 65-31 with 16.5 to play in our first period of play.
Number 50 for Pixies being Strawberry Short Skate as she is jamming, and number 82, Smashinator, is jamming in this jam. It looks like Gapland's jammer gets through on the inside and is considered lead jammer at this point. The Pixies jammer, Strawberry Short Skate, coming in and getting through the pack.
But she's most of a lap behind, so there's plenty of time for Smashinator to
get some points and call it.
Precisely. But Strawberry Short Skate may have stolen a point there, yes. So 1 on the Pixie side and 3 on the Smashers.
Seems like there has been a lot of switching on the blocker side as to whether they take the front or back of the pack. But the jammers for this jam are number 901, Crashity Jade versus 13, Ginger Slap. Not to be confused with Snap. And Gapland's jammer gets through as lead.
Is that 13 or 113?
113? I believe it is.
It's 113, which is the Daisy Juke.
Daisy Juke. Crashity Jade calls it off before the Pixie jammer can get any points. But she does. That was a 2-4 jam. Pixies leading at 68, Gapland only 38. There is about 14 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first half. And a timeout has been called by the officials. I'm sorry, Gapland.
Yeah. And so that is now 1 team timeout called by each of the teams. They have 2 remaining, and each still has their official review remaining. Each team gets an official review per period, which they can use either as an extra timeout or they can use it to challenge some call that the officials made, or in some cases a call that the officials did not make. If they are successful in challenging that call, then they get to use that again. That trick only works once, though. You can have no more than 2 official reviews per period. But if you use it up, you do get another shot at it in the second period of play. So currently wearing the star on the Pixies side of things is number 7, Stinger, lined up against number 51, Houdini. That's the end of the 1-minute timeout.
We are back to the roller derby.
The Junior Roller Derby Association uses the same rules as the WFTDA, the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, and the MRDA, the Men's Roller Derby Association. You can look those up online if you're interested. A track cut
by Houdini. And the Pixies jammer being recycled by the Gapland blockers. Pixies are now on a power jam, and they are trying to do some offense for their jammer. Gapland is not making it easy, but she gets through anyway, getting lead jammer status. Looks like the Gapland jammer is now standing, though, so they will not have much more time.
You are instructed to stand in the penalty box when fewer than 10 seconds remain on your penalty.
And number 7 being Stinger, getting another 5 points. And it looks like the jammer has come right behind her. So it's a race to see which jammer will get points first. And the Pixies jammer calls it, making the score 77 for the Pixies and 38 for Gapland.
It's always a little bit tricky when you're calling off the jam because the other jammer can score up until the 4th whistle that blows. And so you have to be careful with your timing, or they can steal points from you.
Seems like there is a Gapland blocker in the box. Nope. So they'll be starting 1 short.
We have number 82 Smashinator with the star for Gapland. Number 50 Strawberry Short Skate out there for the Pixies.
Strawberry Short Skate getting recycled by those Gapland blockers.
But has been designated lead and so can call off this jam at any time.
Seems like the Pixie pivot has been taken to the penalty box. And the Gapland blocker, the Gapland jammer gets through the pack. Some offense being And another blocker, number 22, getting a back block, being sent to the penalty box.
What happened here is that Strawberry Short Skate, the Pixies jammer, committed a back blocking penalty as she entered the pack and has now been penalized, giving a power play to Smashinator, who turned that into 5 points right away. The jam will go the full 2 minutes, of which 1 minute remains.
Some big hitting and offense for the Gapland jammer. And she gets another 5 points.
Strawberry Short Skate back on the track from the penalty box. That will limit the damage that Smashinator can do, but there's 5 more points for Smashinator.
And the Pixie pivot goes back into the box.
About 20 seconds left. That's enough time for a couple more scoring passes. There go 4 points for Smashinator.
Strawberry Short Skate gets through the wall and gets 4 points. Meanwhile, Pixies are keeping her back, and the jam ends.
2 final points awarded to Smashinator. Total of 21 points on that jam, taking the Gapland Smashers Elite to 59. 8 points going up there for Strawberry Short Skate, 85 points total.
Looks like number 11, Rolling Stowe, being the jammer for Gapland. And Tomahawk being the jammer for the Pixies.
So there's a 26-point differential. We just saw 21 points get picked up in a single jam. So things are by no means out of reach, particularly since the momentum is favoring Gapland right now. They've cut the lead down from a maximum of 34.
And it looks like both jammers are still stuck in the pack. Oh, but not Gapland's jammer. As she gets through, but she is not lead. Pixie's jammer is. And she calls it off.
4 points and out favoring the Pixies takes them to 89 points and restores their lead to 30 points. But it's been hovering around that point since the 7th jam of the game. So this has definitely been a back and forth game in terms of momentum.
Seems like Gapland is once again starting with one blocker in the box, meaning they are one short. Meanwhile, Houdini, 51-51, jamming for Gapland. And number
99.
39, Iron Yonek, being lead jammer for this jam. As she comes in hot to the Gapland pack and scoots all around them on the outside, getting 5 points. Gapland jammer still being recycled to the back of the pack by the Pixies.
This period has started going pretty quickly compared to how it felt earlier. We're down to 8 minutes and a half on the period clock. 3 additional points collected by Irene Yonek as she calls it off.
Pixies have the lead with 97, while Gapland has lead at 59, but there has been an official review called by Gapland.
So as we were describing earlier, each team does have the ability to challenge some sort of call. So with any luck, the officials will inform us what's going on with this one. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to tell you that the JRDA is now offering membership registration structures based on each country's local currency rates. So what this means is that outside of the United States, leagues can earn membership in the JRDA for $200, but 200 whatever your currency is. So not 200 US dollars if you're in Canada, it's 200 Canadian dollars, 200 Australian dollars if you're in Australia, and so on and so forth. So if you are a league outside of the United States and you are interested in membership in the Junior Roller Derby Association, please contact TECH, T-E-C-H, at juniorrollerderby.org for your country's currency code before completing your membership registration. So since an official review results in an official timeout, that can last an unpredictable amount of time. So thank you for sticking with us here as we are hoping to learn, as you are, what's going on the track. So how's the tournament been going for your team, Hot Sauce?
We lost our first bracket, but we have won our second one, and we are going on to play later on today, actually, at 4 p.m. to get to the 5th place title. We played Rocky Mountain earlier at 10 a.m., and that was a lot of fun. That team is really nice. And at the moment, I don't know where our team is because they did not stay to watch this game.
You say you're from Michigan. Where in Michigan?
Me personally, I'm from around the Detroit area, but our team is located around Roseville.
I've not been to Michigan very often, but I did visit a friend in Ann Arbor once.
Ann Arbor's a little bit more north of us, and they have a team there too.
Isn't it the Ann Arbor Derby Dimes, or do they also have juniors?
I think they disbanded their junior team a while ago, but they do have an adult derby league there. An official review is still going on with 8 minutes and 23 seconds left in the first half.
But the head referee is about to announce what's going on.
The contract call on the Gapland jammer was rescinded as the jammer never stood up, therefore never improving their position.
Okay, so it looks like a successful official review by Gapland.
Gapland requested an official review to review a potential forearm call by the Pixies jammer. There was forearm contact, however, no advantage was gained due to this forearm contact. No call will stand. Gapland will not retain their review for the half.
Interesting situation there, because I mentioned that if you succeed in your official review, you get it back, but only once. In this case, they used their retained review to ask for a second penalty against their opponents. That was not awarded, so they both succeeded and failed to retain their review in the same official review. But it's in only 8 minutes, it'll be halftime, and they get it back.
It seems like both jammers, number 82, Smashinator, versus Strawberry Short Skate, number 50, both are still in the pack and are being recycled. Some fast derby walls happening.
The jammers are really neck and neck in the pack right now, but we've got blockers hitting the floor all over the place.
And it seems like they are 3 and 3 for blockers because there are one from each team being in the penalty box. Pivot for Pixies and a blocker for Gapland.
So, go ahead.
Smashinator has gotten the jammer and is now fighting to get through the Pixies pack.
And in a power play, as a low block was assessed to Strawberry Short Skate, who has been in the penalty box for 20 seconds already and is getting ready to rejoin the action. But the advantage definitely remains with Smashinator.
Gapland jammer still trying to get through the pack, but instead calls it off.
It looks like Strawberry Short Skate was released before the whistles blew. Therefore, Pixies will be able to start with a jammer in the next jam. So we've got 97-64 on the board, just under 7 minutes to play.
Number 99, Iron Yonek for the Pixies versus number 11, Rolling Stowe. Iron Yonek coming in hot into that Gapland pack, but is still being recycled. Meanwhile, Gapland's jammer is stuck behind the pack. Iron Yonek gets lead.
A track cut being assessed.
And now that means there's a power jam for the Pixies, and they start doing some quick offense to get their jammer through.
So we've been using the term track cut. What we mean specifically by that is the penalty that is assessed if you improve your position relative to other skaters while you are out of bounds.
Pixies jammer still gets recycled by Gapland, but gets through on the outside with some help from her pivot.
Rolling Stowe standing in the penalty box and has just now been released to rejoin the action.
And Pixie's jammer calls it, making the Pixies score 104 to Gapland 64 with 5 minutes and 22 seconds left in the first half. Looks like number 5151 Houdini versus
I think that's number 27.
27.
Tomahawk.
Tomahawk.
So I understand that this is your second game announcing.
Yes.
So you will learn that folding of jerseys and poor color combinations can make life difficult for us announcers.
I now understand the struggles you guys go through.
So both jammers are in the pack trying to get through, but neither one has succeeded just yet.
Tomahawk still being recycled and a big hit by the Gapland Smashers. And the Gapland Smashers jammer Houdini gets through and is called lead jammer. Pixie's jammer still having a little bit of trouble with those Gapland walls. And the Gapland jammer being recycled, but she does have lead if she finds it too hard. She can call it off. But she gets through and gets a full 5 points. Pixie's jammer is not far behind, but it is her initial pass. Tomahawk racing to get back into the play, while Houdini tries to get past to get a couple more points, but she calls it.
A couple is exactly the additional points that she does get for a total of 7 on the jam, taking the Smashers' lead to 71 points. Still 104 on the board for the Pixies. Score gap of 33 points. It's been hovering between about 20 and about 40 for most of this period.
Only about 3 minutes and 37 seconds left in the first half, with number 82 Smashinator versus number,
I believe that's number 99.
Number 99, Iron Yonik. And there are some strong walls. Oh, and it looks like the Gapland jammer has gotten a penalty, making this a power jam for Pixies. Looks like a blocker. 2 blockers have been called for a multiplayer on the Gapland side.
That leaves Gapland down with only 2 blockers on the track right now.
It's going to be very hard to play some defense, especially with them having not a full wall. Pixies running the pack to give their jammer a little bit more time, and a great hit to the outside by the pivot, giving Iron Yonik a clear hit to the inside as she scores those points.
The Pixies did a great job of clearing that inside line for their jammer.
It was absolutely beautiful. Number 82, Smashinator, gets out of the box.
And returns to the jammer line for the next jam.
5150, Lucky Harms, playing for the first time this half on the Pixie side.
At least jamming for the first time this half.
First time this half. Sorry.
She's probably been out there playing before, but we haven't had call to mention her name so far. But she takes advantage. She goes right up the inside line, lead jammer.
She gets lead jammer. And it looks like another power jam from the Pixies as Smashinator gets sent back to the penalty box.
That is two gems in a row that Smashinator has been in the penalty box.
Lucky Harms gets through for another 5 points. Oof. And has a little bit of falling issue, but still gets to the pack to score another 5. Seems like the Pixies pivot, though, is in the penalty box, making them only have 3 blockers on the floor. Gapland's jammer makes a return and gets by fairly easily. While Lucky Harms is having a little bit of trouble, so she calls off the jam.
2 points collected by Lucky Harms for a total of 12 on that jam.
This makes the score for Pixies 121, Gapland 71, with a whole minute left in the first half.
That is the largest score gap we've seen in the game so far.
Iron Yonik, number 99, jamming for the Pixies, and number 11, Rolling Stowe, also jamming for Gapland. And immediately, There is some offense being played. And a failed apex jump from Rolling Stowe. She gets recycled back. Pixies gets declared lead jammer. Now she gets declared lead jammer. And another hit to the inside. Rolling Stowe gets recycled to the back of the pack. Pixies jammer. Does a nice little move on the outside, but still gets hit out and calls off the jam.
5 points collected on the pass, and that's going to be all the points on that jam for the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies.
Score is 126-71.
That takes us into halftime. We're going to have about 15 minutes worth of halftime. Thanks again for joining us on WFTDA.tv for coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament here in beautiful Loveland, Colorado. My name is Brad Example.
And I'm Hot Sauce.
We'll be back in a few minutes. If you want to, you can tweet to us at the hashtag #talk2JRDA. We'll talk to you later. Thank you much. Welcome back to WFTDA.tv coverage of the JRDA Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament here in scenic Loveland, Colorado, just up the road from my own hometown of Longmont, Colorado. My name is Brad Example.
And I'm Hot Sauce.
And we are here at halftime of game number 8 on track number 2, featuring the Gapland Roller Derby League Smashers Elite playing the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies. So we got a few unofficial statistics for you going into the second period of play. The Pixies have collected 13 penalties in the first period of play, 22 collected by the Smashers. Only a couple players in a little bit of penalty trouble. We got 4 penalties apiece for number 22 Skidlet and number 30 Rip and Roller Her, both on Gapland's side. A couple other unofficial statistics. In the first period, the Pixies picked up lead in 65% of the jams compared to only 30% for the Smashers. That has contributed mightily to the 55-point lead that the Pixies are holding. 126-71 is the score, as you can see on your screen. The unofficial leader in terms of scoring is number 99, Irene Yonek of the Pixies with 47 points. But on the other side of the board, we see Smashinator, number 82 for Gapland, with 41 points for her team. So a couple of tidbits there as we get ready to go into the second period of play. Hot Sauce, what are you going to be looking for in the second period?
I'm really going to be looking for probably more of the blockers and how they're doing and how they're keeping back the jammers and what their plays for offense and defense are.
You, of course, are playing yourself with the DOD team. You'll be playing again at 4 p.m. today. What position do you play?
I play inside quite a bit.
Well, I'll be looking forward to your insights as a player. You know, I've been watching roller derby for a long time, but I've never played it, so that gives you an edge over me. All right, we're getting up for our second 30-minute period of play. And I mentioned that 82 Smashinator was leading the scoring on Gapland's side. Probably not coincidentally, she has the star for this next jam, facing number 27 Tomahawk from the Pixies.
And it looks like Gapland's blockers are having a little bit of trouble with tap out, 123, who is struggling to get by the pack, and she does, getting lead jammer on the inside line. Meanwhile, Smashinator trying hard to fight past that Pixies pivot, and she does, also getting by on the inside line. Pixies blocker number 64 gets a penalty, making them have only 3 blockers starting. And the jam is called off.
4 points.
Tap.
Yes, tap out, calls it off, grabs 4 points.
Okay.
Total now 130-71 on the board. Less than a minute off of the period clock in that first jam of the second half.
Houdini jamming for Gapland, and number 50, Strawberry Short Skate, jamming for the Pixies. The Pixies are starting one short in terms of blockers, but they are doing just fine, keeping the Gapland jammer back. Meanwhile, Pixies jammer is fighting through that wall, and with the flick of her hip, she is lead jammer. Gapland jammer still having a little bit of trouble, but she races through, trying to get by on the outside, and she does. That was her initial pass.
Squeezed past the Pixies pivot there.
The Pixies jammer does get 4 points and calls it off.
So 4 and out for the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies.
Score being 134 for Pixies and 71 for Gapland. Just under 28 minutes left under the half.
So only 2 jams into the second period. Nevertheless, the Pixies have managed to hold Gapland scoreless in the half so far.
Number 27, Tomahawk, versus number 11, Rolling Stone. Tomahawk gets through on the inside line. Gapland trying to do a little bit of offense for their jammer. The Pixies not having it, recycling the Gapland jammer back. Meanwhile, Pixies jammer sneaks through and gets a full 5 points. Looks like that jammer gets knocked down on the outside and taken back. And Pixies jammer makes another 5-point scoring pass.
We've had relatively few double-digit scoring passes in this game, but here's one for the Pixies.
And it looks like Gapland jammer gets through after taking off her helmet cover. And the Pixies jammer, after getting hit out, calls off the jam and gets 3 points. Not a full set, but points nonetheless.
That's 13 on that jam for the Pixies, extending their scoring lead to 76 points.
Number 82, Smashinator, making a comeback. And number 99, Irene Yonek, jamming for the first time this half. And Pixies jammer has a strong start as Irene gets through and gets lead jammer. Meanwhile, Gapland jammer is still being recycled back and pushed around by those Pixies blockers.
According to our intelligence, Irene Yonek had a penalty-free first period.
Absolutely amazing because she is jamming very well. As she gets lead jammer and goes through on the outside, but she does not make it, so she calls it off.
Did pick up 4 points on the pass to add to an earlier 5-point pass. Total of 9 on the jam for the Pixies.
156 for the Pixies versus Gapland 71. Pixies in the lead. Houdini 51-51 jamming for Gapland, and number 50 being Strawberry Short Skate jamming for the Pixies.
In this period, the momentum has gone all towards the Pixies. The Gapland skaters really have got to get some scoring action going here if they don't want to let the Pixies run away with it.
Seems like there's a multiplayer block on the Gapland side.
But just as I say that, Houdini is the first jammer through, the first lead call of the period for Gapland.
But Strawberry Short Skate is not far behind. And it seems like the pivot for the Gapland roller derby. The Gapland has gotten a penalty.
So interestingly, Houdini is lead. Strawberry Short Skate has already been through the pack once, earning 4 points for the Pixies. Houdini has opted not to call it off. Now she completes her own scoring pass, should be good for 4, and there they are.
Houdini still being lead and getting 4 as well, but seems like actually Strawberry Short Skate got 5 points on that pass.
Right, 4 were for Houdini, but Strawberry Short Skate managed to lap Houdini going through there, and that's why she got 5.
Seems like they are playing some pretty hard defense, they being the Pixies blockers, as they are keeping her back. And it looks like actually the Pixies jammer has gone to the box along with her pivot. So it is a power jam on the Gapland side. But it seems like Houdini has picked up a penalty as well, a cutting penalty it seems like. So Strawberry Short Skate being released from the box, making it a flip in the power jam play.
It does mean that this jam will now go the full 2 minutes as the lead privileges have been removed from Houdini.
And it seems like Gapland's pivot has now gotten a penalty.
Yeah, that was a multiplayer block there on MC1R.
2 minutes have gone by, 9 points being scored by the Pixies, 4 points being scored by, 14 points being scored by the Pixies, 9 points being scored by Gapland.
Yeah, each jammer there was awarded 5 points on the final pass of the jam. We stand at 170-80, still now the largest lead of the game for the Pixies with 90 points over the Smashers Elite.
Rolling Stowe, number 11, playing for Gapland, and it looks like 99, Irene Yonek makes a pass and gets lead jammer.
Irene Yonek has been working hard out there. By my unofficial count, this is her 8th turn with the star in the game.
Looks like Gapland's jammer is having a little bit of trouble trying to hit through that pack and finding a way to get through the hole. Seems like Crashy Jade landed a nice hit on the Pixies jammer though and recycles her back. But the same has happened to Rolling Stowe by the Pixies. There are some quick reforming teams, both of them, and they are doing their best. A little bit of falling happening by the Pixies pivot. And a little bit of offense going on. Seems like there has been a penalty called on a Gapland blocker. 5 points being scored by the Pixies. 9 points being scored by the Pixies, making their score 179 to Gapland's 80. 21 minutes and 34 seconds left in the second half. Smashinator number 82 jamming against what looks like number 27, Tomahawk. And it seems like there has been
some sort of timeout has been called.
An official timeout.
That stops the clock at 21 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the game. That is now being adjusted at the direction of the jam timer to 21 minutes and 19 seconds. So the outcome of that last jam has put the Pixies at nearly 100 points more than the Smashers. But the Smashers not giving up. If they continue to leave their star with Smashinator, as I expect that he will, this is her 9th jam of the game. She's the one jammer out there working harder than Irene Yonek.
Seems like this game has been highly favored towards the Pixies, penalties and jams as far as lead jammer is concerned.
Well, if you look at the teams as they come into the tournament, Gapland was the number 10 seed versus the Pixies number 4 seed, so that can't be called exactly surprising. Nevertheless, Pixies have a 3-4 record on the year.
And although both jammers try to get out the pack, seems like Tomahawk got out first, making her lead jammer.
And only about 10 feet in front of Smashinator, so let's see what happens here. I think Smashinator is getting points.
Smashinator does get through and tries to get some points and makes it out of the pack, getting 4 points to Tomahawk's 0 so far, as those Gapland blockers are working her over, but she calls it off, making that a 0-4 jam. 4 in favor of Gapland.
I think Tomahawk will get some. Yeah, she does just get now awarded 3 by the jam ref.
Seems like both teams had one blocker in the box at that point, but it seems like everybody has gotten out of it.
So this is an interesting matchup of numbers on the track. It's number 5150, Lucky Harms for the Pixies, plays against number 5151, Houdini, for the Smashers Elite.
I'd like to point out also the blocker formation by the Pixies, as they have done 2 blocking walls and have reformed to make a full one. And it seems like Gapland's jammer has gotten through on the outside because of her blockers, and the Pixies jammer has gotten a penalty. I do not know what that penalty is, but they will now have a power jam on Gapland's side. She's being worked over by those Pixies blockers, though, because they are not wanting her to get any more of their points.
No, the Pixies definitely want to defend the lead that they have here. The lead has never quite made it to triple digits yet. It went as high as 99 points. This is going to chip away at that lead by a certain amount.
5 points being scored by Houdini, and a successful apex pass by Lucky Harms, who just came through in the pack. Houdini
calls
it off.
One additional point on that pass.
The score is now 182 to 90. Gapland scoring 6 points on that jam. There are 18 minutes and 44 seconds left in the second half.
There's a correction that that last pass was 2 points, and I suspect that was due to the jammer lap, or the not on the track point from the Pixies jammer, who had been in the penalty box.
Rolling Stowe going up against Irene Yonek. And there are some strong walls by both teams, but there has not been a lead jammer yet. Ooh, and a big block by that pivot. I'm sorry, not that pivot. Number, looks like 000 has been making a couple really good plays on offense for her team. But Rolling Stowe still gets lead jammer, but Iron Yonek is not far behind.
We have a shout out on the Twitter feed for the Smashers and number 11 Rolling Stowe, and since that shout out is from Aaron Stowe, I suspect that's not completely coincidental.
Right. Irene Yonek gets a penalty and is now sitting out. Rolling Stowe is lead jammer and needs a power jam on the Gapland side. I'm seeing a little bit of offense from the blockers, but it is hard to get through that Pixie pack. And it seems like there has been a spread out pack happening at the moment. They do not have much time left to get a scoring pass for their jammer, though, because Irene Yonek has been released from the penalty box. Rolling Stowe is lead jammer, so she could call it off at any time that she wanted. And Irene Yonek comes and sneaks through. The jam has been called off. Seems like it was not successful as a power jam for Gapland. Or not nearly as successful as it seems like they wanted to because of the sad faces.
Gapland nevertheless did end up with the jam win there, chipping a single point off of the Pixies' lead. We now see a 90-point lead, a score of 186 to 96. Period clock ticks down to just under 16 and a half minutes.
Looks like number 82 Smashinator against number 111 Damage Patch Kid for Pixies. That is the first time we've seen her jamming ever in this game.
Correct.
And she has gotten lead jammer, though, so it has apparently been effective. Smashinator being worked over by those Pixies blockers. And the Pixies jammer does a cool spin move, but still gets recycled back by those Gapland blockers. Seems like Smashinator finally got through the pack. And there has been a big hit. Damage Patch Kid finally calls off the jam.
4-4 on the jam is the final tally.
Gapland has finally broken 100.
I think the choice of Damage Patch Kid was probably a smart one by the Pixies. It broke up the 2-jam lead streak that the Smashers Elite were hanging on to. Now we'll see what happens with number 7 Stinger with the star for the Pixies against number 9 Reina Terror, who hasn't taken the star for the Gapland team for quite a while.
Some strong blocking from both teams. Number 901 really trying to reform and get to that Pixie Jammer, but Pixie Jammer gets through anyway, getting lead. Looks like Raina Terror trying really hard to get through those Pixie blockers too, but she's just having a lot of trouble. She gets through anyway though, and although Stingher is still lead, she has an opportunity to call it off if Raina Terror does try to get some points. Pixie's blockers doing quite a bit of reforming.
So there's two principles at work here. The Pixies, the clock is on their side because they've got a substantial lead, so they're just as happy to burn a lot of time off the clock in every jam. On the other hand, if the Gapland team can manage to get multiple scoring passes, it helps them. So there's kind of a little bit of pressure towards long jams in the latter part of this game.
Pixies get 8 points in that jam, while Gapland only got 4.
There is a timeout being called. Is it an official timeout?
Seems like Gapland has called it.
I'm not seeing the signal for the official review. There it is. It's a team timeout.
A team timeout.
Called by Gapland.
While this timeout is going on, we can talk a little bit about the score. 198 for Pixies. And Gapland with 104. 13 minutes and 52 seconds left in the half.
So far, Gapland has managed to keep within 100 points of the Pixies. It has been flirting with 100 points for the last several jams, but they've been able to keep it just under 100 points. Much of that has come during this second period here. It was closer to a 50-point gap at the half, and so the second half has definitely seen the Pixies building on their advantage. As we said earlier, they are the number 4 seed in the tournament, so on paper they do have the advantage. If they hold on to win this one, they will go on to play the Chick Whips at 6 p.m. here on this track, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Game 11. And similarly, Gapland would advance to the Game 13, first game tomorrow for 9th place. We're already back in the action. So
Gapland having lead jammer, Rolling Stowe, trying hard to get by. 64, who is a Pixie blocker. They're just working those inside and outside edges, keeping her from getting by. Pixie's jammer gets a full 5 points from that pass, making their score 203 at this point. While Gapland's jammer is just having a lot of trouble getting by, and she does not make it. The pivot does take her back. Pixie's jammer is having no problem getting by those Gapland walls, though, as she scores another 5 points. That other point being awarded because she has been lapping the jammer. Tap out is lead, and she does not seem to be wanting to call it off anytime soon because Rolling Stowe is still on her initial pass.
We have now
and
seen
it looks like
a star
Jane
pass. Oh.
Had a star pass.
We have the star pass. Crashity Jade went down hard. She's trying to get the star back onto the track. We're going to have the jam called off, and the clock stopped at 12 minutes and 22 seconds remaining.
This is really abnormal to have 3 injuries in the same game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some games where things got out of control, but this one, I don't feel that the play has been particularly out of control. It's been hard play, it's been strong play, but it hasn't been what I would call undisciplined play. But we've had some bad luck during the course of this game. Couple of stoppages for injury early in the first period, and now this one as we're a little bit more than halfway through the second period.
hopefully both teams keep up their morale because injuries can very much mess up with their psyche. But both teams seem to be going strong despite the injuries.
This one, this stoppage, it looks like it might last a little bit longer. So thank you for bearing with us as we are here at the Junior Roller Derby Association Championships in Loveland, Colorado. Today is Saturday, the 15th of July, 2017. 6 games are being played today. This is hard to believe it's only the second game of the day on this track. It is, although it's already 1:30 in the afternoon Mountain Time. This game will be followed by game number 9, featuring Gotham against, it says the Seattle Derby Brats Galaxy Girls, and against Gotham Girls Junior Derby. That is nominally scheduled for 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I think this track is a little bit behind schedule, so it might be a little bit after that. The winner of the next game on this track will advance to the first place game of the tournament. So that's a very important game for the skaters here.
It's going to be very exciting for whoever makes it to that point.
Tell us a bit more about your next game of the day.
We play Crooked River next at 4 p.m. and we have played them before back in a tournament. Spring Breaker out in Mackinac. That is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. That was very fun to play against them, and we are looking forward to play against them again. They have some very strong walls, and they have one good jammer that stands out to me. They have a lot of good jammers, but one of them in particular, Devious, she is number 777 if you guys do tune into that game. She has done some phenomenal things on toe stops, some things that I have never seen before. She is particularly good at apex jumping. But I'm also excited for our team to play because it has been a while since we have played them. That was all the way back in March.
In that game in March, which team came out victorious?
Our team, actually. We won the entire tournament that game. We played against, I think, Crooked River, Queen City. I believe we played against Lansing as well. And I believe that's it.
Is Queen City Detroit? Am I remembering that correctly, or
I
no?
think I have no clue where Queen City is actually located. I do know Lansing is located in Lansing because that is another Michigan team.
Was it an all-Michigan tournament, or you just happen to play a bunch of Michigan teams?
We happen to play quite a few Michigan teams because that is what we're around. We've played other teams before. All the way back in, I think, February. We played in a co-ed tournament in Florida. We played against teams that were in the Open Division tournament this year. California Mayhem, Tampa All-Stars Roller Derby, Attack Pack. Those were the 3 that we played. And it was a great experience because that was actually my first game being in competitive roller derby.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we're pleased to report that Crashity Jade is now back up on her feet and she is being led off the track. I don't think we'll be seeing her back playing in the remainder of this game, but if she's leaving under her own power, that's definitely a good sign. Clock remains stopped at 12 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the game. We were talking earlier that the Gapland team had managed to keep the Pixies lead within 100 points. It is now edged up above 100 points. It's a 112-point differential.
Seems like Smashinator is going to be jamming for the Gapland Smashers Elite because the Pixies jammer has been put into the penalty box, making this a power jam for the Gapland Smashers.
That jammer for the Pixies is number 123 Tap Out. And Smashinator has just been doing work for the Gapland team all game. As I mentioned at halftime, unofficially she was their lead scorer, and if I check my stats now, she is still unofficially their lead scorer with 49 points. That is exceeded in the game only by Irene Yonak of the Pixies, who I show as having 69 points so far. There's the whistle to start the jam.
Smashinator trying to get through on the outside line, and she does, getting, well, not necessarily lead jammer status because she gets a cut. And it seems like she is going to sit down, making this a switch in power jams as tap out number 1, 2, 3 comes back into play. Pixies go right for the offense as tap out does get by on the outside line and gets lead jammer status. Since that was her initial, she does not get any points for that pass, but for this one, she will if she can get by them.
And just for the record, if you're wondering what counts as passing your opponent, that is measured by the hips of the skater.
Speaking of passing hips, she has passed all of their hips as she is lead jammer and got by, and it seems like she got points, 5 in fact.
Oh no, we have another injury stoppage on the track. I think the jam was already stopped due to the call off, but we definitely have stopped the period clock right now at 11 minutes and 20 seconds as another Gapland skater is being seen to. That makes, well, too many.
Yes.
This is not the sort of thing we enjoy having to talk about, but it is certainly a fact that roller derby is a full contact sport, and this is the sort of thing that can happen. The skaters all train very hard on how to fall and have safety requirements in terms of pads, but full contact is full contact.
Full contact, and you can never be sure of the variables. Variables are always going to change depending on what team you're playing, how you're playing, what's happening out there on the floor. Some things just cannot be avoided, unfortunately.
The surface we're skating on at this venue is polished concrete, which a lot of skaters actually really like to skate on. It provides a good surface for your wheels if you're well prepared for it, but there's no denying that it's hard stuff to fall on.
Very much is. And polished concrete is very slick, which will also cause you to slide quite a bit.
We are at a time stoppage in the second period of game number 8 of track number 2 here at the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Finals. We've got game number 8 featuring the Gapland Roller Derby actually coming down from Saskatchewan, Rocanville, Saskatchewan. Whereas the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies are from the Spokane Valley of Washington State here in the United States. Gapland has a 1-3 competitive record on the year. They defeated the Back Alley Brats back in April, but took a narrow loss to the Pylobones Misdemeanors. Angel City Junior Derby defeated them in May, as did the Emerald City Junior Gems. Okay, once again, as you can probably tell from the crowd noise leaking in, the skater back returning to the sidelines. Now that skater was Smashinator, and losing her to injury would be a terrible loss for Gapland because she has been scoring most of their points so far in the game.
Smashinator might be out, but Raina Terre is in as number 9, and it looks like, if I could just see her number, 360?
Well, I believe it's number 666, Slim Reaper.
Slim Reaper. I don't think we've seen her jam yet.
We have not.
But it seems like she has doing just fine. She has gotten lead jammer by going through the inside line. Gapland's jammer is having a tough time getting through those blockers, but she has managed to juke by 2 of them. But Pixies are so quick at reforming, she has to fight through them all over again. Meanwhile, Pixies jammer gets through once again with a full 5 points. And Raina Terre finally gets through that pack, although that was her initial pass, as she will not get any points until the next one. Slim Reaper calls off the jam before she can make it even to the pack. And
So
she scores 9 points in that jam.
we saw one of the Gapland skaters, Skidlet, go down hard. The play was not stopped on her behalf, but she's not feeling happy over on her bench. And so I think they might actually stop play. Yeah, they're calling an official timeout, stopping the clock yet again at 10 minutes and 13 seconds.
Seems like there have been quite a few injuries in this game.
There have been an extraordinary number of injuries in this game. It puts me in mind of a particularly terrible scrimmage I saw many years ago where there were a number of stoppages for injury. In that case, up to and including calling of ambulances for broken ankles. It is within the power of the officials to stop the play of the game. I don't know whether they will or not. There seems to be a discussion going on amongst the officials, and I have to wonder if that is the topic of conversation. Score does stand at 230 to 104, as it did after the end of the last jam. The last jam was not called off for the injury, but the time stop that we have now, the official timeout, was when a skater, when that does occur, that skater has to sit out at least 3 jams, but of course it very much depends on the condition of the skater.
Let it be known that injuries are never a fun thing, but both teams seem to be in the best spirits that they can be as they are still playing hard out there.
So here is what's the state is right now. I've just heard the officials mention that one reason we need to be in this official timeout with the clock stopped is that all of the medics available in the building right now are busy seeing to various individuals, and we cannot resume play until that is no longer the case. So thank you for your patience, folks at home, as we are now into the 3rd minute of this official timeout, as the priority, of course, has to be seeing to the safety and well-being of the skaters here at the tournament. That whistle right there indicates the end of the official timeout, so apparently we are getting back into the state of being able to go. We have number 50, Strawberry Short Skate, with the star for the Pixies against number 51 Houdini for Gapland.
Looks like Pixies are excuse me. Pixies are starting with 1 blocker short, but they are doing an okay job at taking Houdini back. Meanwhile, Strawberry Short Skate gets lead jammer, and those Pixies are still reforming and really hitting that Gapland jammer. But she gets through anyway, and that is her first pass, although she is not lead. Seems like the Pixies jammer gets there on the inside, and she calls it off before Houdini can get any points. She, however, gets 4.
So 4-0 on the jam will extend the Pixies' lead to a nice even 130 points.
Pixies have 234 to Gapland's 104, and it's about 9 minutes and 9 seconds left in the second half.
Slim Reaper back to the jammer line for the Pixies against Reina Terror, number 9 for Gapland. An official timeout, stopping the clock at 1 second past the 9-minute mark remaining. So this may be, again, medic related. It's hard to say. We happily did not have any further injuries in the previous jam, but the medics still seem to have their hands kind of full with what has already taken place during the course of this game. Wall clock time is 1:45 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. The nominal time for the next game would be 2 p.m. That's not going to happen. For that matter, this game started a few minutes late, so it's not too unusual that the subsequent game would be a bit late as well, but there have been just an inordinate number of play stoppages or clock stoppages during the course of this game.
Looks like after this game, a little past 2 p.m. will be Galaxy Girls versus Gotham. That's game number 9, and whoever wins that one will be going on to play for first place on Sunday, July 16th at 6 p.m., which will be a very exciting game indeed.
Meanwhile, your next game will be on this track nominally at 4 p.m., probably a little later now. And you'll be facing Crooked River. The winner of that game will end up in the 5th place game tomorrow, which takes place at 2 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Clock remains stopped at 8 minutes and 59 seconds. I'm Brad Example, and I'm joined by Hot Sauce. We are bringing you on WFTDA.tv the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament from a venue that's called The Ranch here in Loveland, Colorado, a bit north of Denver, Colorado, and just up the road from my own hometown of Longmont, Colorado, which is the hometown of the Boulder County Bombers, although I normally announce for Denver Roller Derby a little bit farther down the road.
I've never even been this far west. It's very exciting and interesting to see the amount of cows you guys have here in Colorado.
Well, you know, they used to call Denver a cow town for a reason, and it's still the fact that every January there's a huge event called the National Western Stock Show with all kinds of livestock, cattle, horses, sheep, you name it.
Back in Michigan, we're more of a moose town.
You actually don't have to go too far to find moose here in Colorado as well. Head up into the mountains, especially into there's an area called North Park, and you'll run across some moose up there.
That will be actually very fun. Maybe not to encounter them, but maybe to look at them.
Sure.
I've heard moose are very aggressive.
They are big critters, I can tell you that.
Looks like there is still going to be a little bit of trouble, probably with the medics, in terms of number 22 on the Gapland side.
Well, yeah, we have not yet received an indication that play will resume, so thank you for bearing with us. A very long time ago, probably long before you were born, I was on a trip to Yellowstone and was able to see some moose. And just as I say that it's going to take a little while, we see motion on the track, looking like we're going to get things back underway.
Number 666 seems to be jamming for the Pixies, that being Slim Reaper. And although I do not know who's jamming for Gapland, that seems to be what it is.
Okay, now we're seeing an official review having been called. Oh, they're using it as a timeout. So there's this kind of an extra timeout being used by Gapland just to get a little bit of extra time. So that's why all the Gapland skaters are over at their bench and we don't see them on the track. Raina Terror, number 9, had been lined up to jam and is still wearing the star. And so we can predict that she's likely to be their jammer this next time out. I'll mention once again that there is an international junior roller derby tournament and roller disco in Copenhagen, Denmark, coming up in August 11th and 12th. You can come see 145 junior skaters aged 10 to 18 years from 9 countries. That's being hosted by CAT, Creatures of the Abyss Tournament. And you can get more information at www.catrollerderby.com or just catrollerderby.com. And there is the whistle indicating the end of the team timeout.
Once again, Slim Reaper on the jam line for the Pixies, and Raina Terror seeming to be jamming for Gapland. Never mind.
It is Raina Terror.
It is Raina Terror.
Wait.
There's an official timeout. Oh, I'm sorry, a Gapland timeout.
So I think they had to call that team timeout this time because they were running out of time and were about to be penalized for delay of game and opted to call a timeout instead. But it means that we will be an additional 60 seconds before play resumes. You can reach us on Twitter at hashtag 2, JRDA. That's the number 2. Got the Twitter feed up in front of me, and it has been relatively quiet, so if you choose to tweet with that hashtag, the odds are fairly decent that we'll see it. We may or may not be able to respond. But now, finally, yes, back to the action with Reign of Terror jamming for Gapland against the Slim Reaper for the Pixies.
Looks like a little bit of offense trying to be played for the Pixie Jammer, but she gets through just fine without it. Reign of Terror being squeezed by those blockers. And Gapland also trying to do some offense. Reign of Terror jumps around on the outside and gets through. While Slim Reaper, who is lead, trying hard to get by those Gapland blockers, and she instead gets a cutting penalty, making this a power jam for Gapland, which is probably what they need at this point. They are playing some offense.
So 5 points up on the board for Reign of Terror, earning the not on the track point for their opposing jammer, as well as the 4 points for passing the opposing blockers.
Reign of Terror struggling to get by those Pixie blockers, but she gets through anyway with some help from her blocker friends. They are keeping one Pixie player back, most likely to keep the pack on their side. And it looks like Slim Reaper has now exited the box and has gotten through, but a hit from one of the Gapland blockers to make sure that she does not get far. But she whips off of one of her teammates and gets through the pack anyway.
She takes a shirt whip off of Blackheart blocker.
This jam will be going on for the full 2 minutes because there has not been a lead jammer. And it looks like a Gapland blocker has gotten a multiplayer block, which I don't believe she was happy about, meaning that they are now one short on the floor. Reign of Terror struggling to get through that wall of blue. And Slim Reaper going by for another pass, but she gets recycled.
The time expiring on the jam with no additional points picked up by the Pixies. So the total scoring is 8-18, advantage Gapland, and they therefore carve 10 points off of the Pixies' lead.
Pixies with 2:42, Gapland with 1:22. 6 minutes and 34 seconds left in the second half. Seems like number...
I believe that's number 111, Damage Patch Kid.
Versus 82 Smashinator, and both got recycled, so they are still struggling to get through that pack. But the outside was left wide open, so Damage Patch Kid was able to get lead jammer status. Smashinator not far behind, though, as she tries to catch up.
Maybe about 40 or 50 feet behind. Smashinator in at the pack for points. So definitely points for each jammer on this pass.
And it looks like Damage Patch Kid gets through on the outside again.
4 points for the Pixies.
Trying to be played. And Smashinator gets through with a little help from her blockers. Making it a 4-4 jam so far. Damage Patch Kid contending with those Gapland blockers who are trying to reform around her. And she gets recycled back. And she calls off the jam. And it seems like Gapland got some points too. 7-5.
Yeah, one additional point for Gapland on the last scoring pass gave them a total of 5 on the jam compared to the Pixies' 7. Reign of Terror back to the line after one jam away. Strawberry Short Skate back to the line for the Pixies after 2 jams away.
Strawberry Short Skate really using her pushes to get through as lead jammer. Reign of Terror is trying hard to get by. And she does. Pixies are trying to do some offense for Strawberry Short Skate, but she calls it off violently so that way nobody can get any points. Except for her, because she gets 2. Pixies get 2 points on that jam. Gapland got 0. The score is 251 to 127 in favor of Pixies.
So as the period clock ticks past the 4-minute mark, we have time for 2, maybe 3 or 4 jams. Depends on how long they run.
Seems like I cannot see who those are. Oh, Tomahawk and Smashinator.
Correct.
They're both being, a big hit, knocking down a ref. And it seems like Gapland's jammer, Smashinator, has gotten lead, which is exactly what they need to control this jam.
That breaks a pretty lengthy string of lead jam calls that went to the Pixies.
A hard hit to Gapland's jammer, but she gets right back up and is right back at it. Seems like Tomahawk comes into the pack, but is called off by the Gapland jammer, who I don't believe got any points in that jam. Gapland got 3, Pixies 0.
I heard a timeout whistle. It's a team timeout being called, this time by the Pixies. That leaves them with 1 team timeout in the game. Gapland is dry when it comes to timeouts. They have used all of theirs. So the clock is stopped with 2 minutes and 56 seconds. That means there will be a minimum of 2 more jams in the game. Score stands at 251 to 130. The flow of the game is that, well, really, the Pixies have led the entire game, starting from the first jam. But during the course of most of the first period, Gapland was able to keep the score hovering, the score differential hovering between about 20 and 30 points, with occasionally going a little bit higher. Right at the end of the first period, the Pixies were able to pour it on a bit and increase that gap to about 50 points, and it's been up. The momentum has gone their way pretty much ever since, until we get to the current state of affairs.
Seems like Raina is jamming for Gapland. And
Slim Reaper for the Pixies.
Slim Reaper makes a return on the track as jammer.
Slim Reaper has, this is going to be, looks like her 3rd jam of the game.
And she's fighting through those Gapland walls and doing quite a few spin moves to try to get by. Meanwhile, that Gapland jammer is still stuck behind in the Pixies pack. Pixies jammer is having a little bit of trouble, so she takes off the star and does a panty pass.
We have had a successful star pass by the Pixies, but their pivot now is still stuck in the pack. And their pivot appears to be number 5150, Lucky Harms.
And Lucky Harms gets by on the outside. Raina still fighting to get by that pack.
So Raina is still theoretically eligible to earn lead, but hasn't made it through the pack yet.
Lucky Harms gets 5 points after she laps that jammer. That's where that extra point comes from. And it seems like a panty pass on the Gapland side is happening. The Pixies are trying hard not to make that happen. She passes the panty successfully.
To number 5151, Houdini.
Houdini is trying hard to get by that pack. Meanwhile, Lucky Harms has made another pass and gets another 5 points, making that 10 points for her jam this time.
So neither jammer can be lead. We have, let's see, just over 15 seconds now remaining. There will be time for one more jam in this game, but this jam will have burned off a full 2 minutes. 4 points for Houdini.
And Lucky Harm tries to do a quick offense move. And a successful apex jump by the Pixie Jammer. Man, the Pixies got 14 points in that jam. Gapland only had 4. The advantage goes to Pixies. There's a timeout on the Pixies side, though. So another 60 seconds will be being added to the clock.
And that is the final team timeout that the Pixies have, but they still have their official review, which they could use as an additional timeout should they choose. However, at this point, with 46 seconds remaining on the clock, well, I mean, it is possible to have like a super quick jam of like 30 seconds and then stop the clock one last time if you were so inclined. At this point, the clock definitely favors the Pixies. They have a substantial lead, and I'm a little bit surprised they didn't just do their best to get this game over with, because it has been a grueling game for both sides.
Most definitely. But the Pixies are victorious so far with 265 points. Gapland with 134. 46 seconds left in the second half.
Well, let's be realistic. 131 points are not going to be scored by Gapland in this jam.
I've always been considered an optimist, but I agree. It seems like Daisy Juke makes a comeback and does an apex jump right off the bat, getting lead. Smashinator still stuck in that pack, but she is trying her hardest to get through. Daisy Juke coming up on the pack and is encountering those blockers from Gapland. She goes to the middle and gets a full.
That's 4 points because Smashinator had made it out of the pack.
Smashinator trying to get a couple more points just before the end. And she does.
Period clock has expired, so when this jam is over, the game is over. 4 points collected by Smashinator, 4 more by Daisy Juke, who does call it off. That will take us to the end of the game. I believe 4 more points need to be added. There they are. The unofficial final so far, 273 to 138, a 135-point victory for the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies over the Gapland Roller Derby Smashers Elite. So we'll wait until the officials are right now conferring with the scorekeepers, and that will make the score official. But the results of this game mean that the Gapland team goes on to the 10th place game for tomorrow morning. That's the first game of the day at 10 a.m. Mountain Time versus the Rocky Mountain Roller Punks. And the Pixies, on the other hand, advance to play the Chick Whips tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. That's on this track. We are behind schedule because it's already after 2 o'clock. So stay tuned for the actual starting time. The nominal starting time would be 6 p.m.
Since that unofficial final has been turned into that final score of 273 to 138. 273 for the Pixies, 138 for Gapland. And that is the end of the game.
Well, congratulations to the Inland Northwest Roller Derby Pixies. Thank you very much, Hot Sauce, for calling this game with me. I had a great time, except for all the injury stoppages. That's never pleasant.
It's
but
never fun.
we are back in the swing of things. My name is Brad Example, and
I'm Hot Sauce.
This has been WFTDA.TV coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament in Loveland, Colorado. Stay tuned for more in I don't know when they're going to try to run the next game. So we're behind time. Stay tuned. We'll get it started as soon as we can. Thanks very much.